How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Coach Brock here with Backstop Built, the full catchers training program. I'm doing another client interview slash testimony with a guy that I hold close to my heart because this player was really awesome to work with. This is Connor today. He has a very unique story. You're going to want to stick all the way around to the end because of his journey, not only as he has grown as a catcher mentally and physically, but what he is able to accomplish growing spiritually as well. I'm super excited to introduce this kid. So let's hear from him.
Hi, I'm Connor Calloway, and I just finished my junior year. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I do have aspirations of playing college baseball. And I've just been really praying and focusing on how I'm going to get there. And yeah, I'm super excited for it.
I think one of the things we're going to dive right into is where you were before we were working together because you definitely had those aspirations of going to that higher level and playing college ball, but it all started with having a really solid junior year on varsity. And yeah, Connor just finished his junior year. Now he's ready for summer going into his senior year. We're pretty excited for this one because of the results he got, but we're not going to jump the gun. And let's start with where you were before we started working together.
Yeah, so for the physical side of the game, catching wise, I felt like honestly I hadn't gotten a ton of time on my high school team catching prior to that. I came into the varsity program as a catcher, but I ended up playing a little bit more infield. So for me, going into the junior year season, I felt like there was a few things that I really needed to hone in for my skills and honestly just a bunch of technical stuff. I also felt like the leadership aspect was going to be like shined a lot more on me this year, being the starting catcher. So I really wanted to focus up on that and get ready to go for the season.
Yeah, and just to give everyone a rundown of your situation, what team did you make freshman year, sophomore year, before you were the starting varsity catcher on junior year?
So I did make the varsity team my freshman year. I came into tryouts that year as an infielder because that was my primary position prior to high school baseball. I hadn't really ever caught before, but I noticed that we really were in need of a backup catcher. So I was like, let's really hone in on catching. So I ended up doing that and I ended up making the team for that. Had a pretty good freshman year. I didn't actually catch a lot. And then my sophomore year, I came back into the program mostly as a third baseman actually. So I ended up finishing my freshman year playing a lot of third base. So I came in as a third baseman and I never really caught that much my sophomore year.
I think for you, what I remember before we were working together was like you were like, this is a big year. This is what I need to prepare for. Junior year, I have it open for the spot. And I think that's something that's valuable for anyone watching this who a lot of kids I talk to or players are having to grind and they're in competition for that spot. And then there's another group of guys where they're like, I have it wide open. And that can be more dangerous sometimes because you're not as like hungry to take your training to the next level, which will take your game to the next level because you're like, well, there's no other catcher this year and it's for sure me. The next part is like playing every day and leading your team to success just like you did, man. Let's talk about what you needed to work on. Like what's some things within catching that you for sure before we were working together realized you needed to improve?
Yeah, so we started off in your program with blocking. And before I even joined your program, blocking for me, like I knew how to do it. It wasn't necessarily a mental block for me, but I wasn't doing it correctly. So when I joined your program, that's what I was like. I think I told you at the beginning, I was like, yeah, I really need to focus on blocking right now because I think that that's one of the aspects that can set apart a really good catcher from also a really good catcher. But if you can block consistently and keep the ball in front, then I think that's really valuable. And also my throwdowns. I really wasn't very confident in my throwdowns. I'm not a super big guy. I don't have a super strong arm. So I really wanted to focus on my mechanics as well as being very quick and smooth. But yeah, those were the two things that were like my main focus.
I mean, and it's cool me knowing your progress and seeing like your evaluations and the in-game results and like you starting to hose guys all season. That makes me excited, man. I can't imagine for you. Let's kind of go into like what specific adjustments did you and I make after going through the program that helped probably your blocking and throwing?
Yeah, so for my blocking, I remember sending videos to you before we even started from my two knees up stance. I would block and I'd jump back. I'd like kick back and I'd be in the air before I came down and blocked the ball. So that was like one of the earliest adjustments I remember us making to my blocking. And for throwdowns, I think that when I first went into the throwdowns part, I really didn't have my feet set up in a good position to help me make a throw. So I think that that was a huge focus. I remember doing tons of drills on getting my right foot or my back foot down early and just being able to set up in a nice parallel position to second base. But yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty much the plan of attack, which was like these small tweaks that I can tell were like kind of a kink in the hose for you. That I'm like, okay, if we kind of work on those and define what the actual problem is, we're going to be able to now work towards fixing that. And like I said, none of the stuff we did was maybe like a crazy drill where you're like, what the heck? But it was a lot of consistency on that small things. And then you start sending me in-game video of you getting those results. So let's talk about that real quick. What did the results turn into, especially in game for you for those categories and even receiving?
yeah, so I think funny enough, the blocking results came in earliest. I ended up having some pretty crazy blocks, but also just being really consistent and keeping the ball in front. I noticed that I mean, throughout the whole year, I rarely ever, like maybe like honestly 3 or 4 times had to run back to the backstop to get a ball. And I think that was super awesome, like being able to just keep everything in front for the team. And then for throwdowns, that didn't come till a little bit, like it was early in the year, but a few games. I never really had people running on me. And I was a bit surprised because usually prior to that, I had a lot of guys running on me. But my first throw out at second did come in an away game. And that was super awesome. I felt like I mean, I had never felt smoother. And honestly, I didn't know how it was gonna go when I came into game because it was like my first time implementing all these like mechanics that I had learned from your program into my throwdowns, and I ended up hosing a guy that already had a decent amount of stolen bases. And the video shows that I think he got a pretty good jump, but I just felt super smooth with it, and that was like big confidence booster for me.
I mean, for you to get in-game results as quickly as you did, that is huge, man. That's everything, especially when you're at this pivotal point of having like that good junior year. Let's talk about that, like overall team success, junior year, everything. What do you have to say about those results as a whole?
Yeah, so honestly, like I knew we were a really skilled and talented team going into the season. I was super pumped for the season because of what I felt like we could do on the field. But as I said before, like the leadership opportunity was open for me at that position. Honestly, like I felt like our team had super good chemistry throughout the whole year where like even at school like we're all super close and we all like eat at the same lunch table and hang out together. The season ended up getting cut shorter than we expected, but no, I think we had really great chemistry, all around good vibes in the dugout, which I think is super important for a team.
Nice. And you feel like you had that junior year personally that was just like what you envisioned or needed to do?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I envisioned myself helping lead our team to a state championship. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I think that there's always the future, and I was able to help mold the guys that we have in the program right now into just like super humble team players. I pride myself and also like the team on playing with class. The division that we were in, there was a lot of trash talk. I mean, honestly, it was just kind of some rough baseball, but throughout all of it, we were able to play with class. So I was super happy about that, and that the guys on the team respected me enough to go through when I asked, like, hey, like ignore what they're doing, ignore what they're saying over there in the dugout, like just play our game, like you pitch to me, and just end up like playing with class, and it ended up being really good.
And man, that's huge, especially like you're at a Christian school too. So you guys
Yeah.
are in the spotlight as far as, having to hold yourself with kind of that poise and righteousness that, people put that pedestal on you. And that's so cool that you see that you're even more on that limelight because you are the leader of the team and the catcher. Honestly, you saying this, dude, is making me pretty pumped because like you're acting like a leader and you're showing how you were a leader this year and like this was your team and it falls on you and how hard or how good you're able to kind of be that confident rock back there. That's just really cool how you're speaking right now, man. I don't know if you can see it for yourself, but it's really good stuff, man. That's awesome. I think hopefully anyone watching this can see your story where you are, where you were before. I think you were one of those cases where, you know, you kind of had a huge opportunity this year and it was about execution. Like I said, some guys are fighting for the opportunity. You had the opportunity and man, it was so cool to see your in-game film going forward and you just become that leader mentally and physically. So I hope they understand that. And now you're way further off better on that path towards your goal and dream, which is that next level. And let's kind of go into the program itself now. Let's talk about, I'm just going to start here. What is it like inside the program? Like, what was your experience like for anybody watching who wants to know what it's like inside my program and things like that?
Yeah, so honestly, I came into the program really wanting to put a lot of work in, and I didn't know how much work was going to be available for me going into it. But as soon as I got into the program, like I was flooded with all these drills and all this good stuff coming my way. And I was super pumped because, like, the time that I had and every single opportunity that I was able to, like, I was completely busy with putting in this good work. And it's just it's really fun because not only does it teach you to continue to grind and work hard, but honestly, for more than half of these drills, like, you're out wherever you are on your own doing these drills, so it teaches you, like, that you have to be intentional with your work even though nobody's watching, so, like, the integrity aspect of it. And I think that that was huge for me, like, being able to focus up and dial in even though nobody was watching me do these drills. I can't just, like, mindlessly go through these. So yeah, even though there wasn't always somebody out there, it was very important to focus in.
Yeah, and also with the evaluation part of like you having to send video in is like technically I'm able to see what your training looks like and there's times, man, where I could tell like, hey, that wasn't your best effort or just a indie player in the program and they have to grind through it because you know it's 6 days a week about 30 minutes per day and you're gonna get better like if you put in the work you're like if you go outside and do what I'm saying you're gonna get better. So I guess with like how the setup was with like the platforms and all that, did you enjoy it, like your how you had your app and you know things like that?
Yeah, for sure. The app was super easy, very accessible. I could just go on there and look at what my workout was for the day, and then it has all the lists of everything to do. But yeah, I mean, honestly, also the OnForm app, uploading my videos up there was super helpful. Didn't really have any troubles with that, so I was very happy with these apps and the way that they worked for sure.
Yeah, and the fact you're able to like use me as a resource every single day versus like we talked about your other training options for anyone out there, which is like you can go see an in-person coach 1 hour a week and you're still guessing the other 6 days, or you could do group work with your team, either club team, high school team, and that's nothing tailored towards you. That's just group work with the catchers you're competing against. Or you could scroll on Instagram and try and figure it out yourself. And like none of that is consistent, none of that is an actual solution. It's just a lot of guessing. And what I tried to build here was like, no, this is exactly what you should be doing. And that's kind of my end goal. One thing I wanted to ask you was, would you recommend this to someone else? Would you recommend the program if there was another catcher you knew who was asking about it?
100% for sure. Honestly, like, it's very, very, like, the aspect of it being accessible. And like you said, like, I can contact you at any time and ask you questions or just hit you up and let you know how everything's going, like some of my successes. Also, the community aspect, you get to jump on calls on different topics, honestly, spiritual wise, and also the game, with a bunch of other players in the program. And I thought that that was really cool. You know, also just like your Instagram, seeing out how, like, not only I'm progressing, but all the other players in the program too. So yeah, I would 100% recommend this program. It's super helpful. It keeps you busy, and you definitely see results, like, quickly.
I appreciate that. I put in a lot of effort to show you guys the highest quality of coaching because as a player, when I played, man, I wanted so much. Like I wanted a coach who would get show me everything. How do I call pitches? And I never really got that. So I try and build like something super in depth, like almost too many resources. But yeah, I kind of wanted to ask a couple funny questions, which is like, who would you say this program is for? What type of catcher is is this ideally for?
For me personally, I went into this program. I always have prided myself in the past on doing the hard work behind the scenes and grinding everything out to get better. But honestly, this program challenged me. I got in and I didn't realize how consistent you have to be. So your question was like, what type of player or yeah. So I think just somebody who's willing to work super hard for sure. Because if you're not consistent, you often find yourself a bit confused because it's a program that runs along different like levels and how you're working through these different stages. Consistency is key, and somebody who works super hard. For sure, I would 100% recommend you. And for someone who isn't used to it, who isn't used to putting in hard work consistently, I think that this can definitely kickstart that opportunity for you to build those strong habits in the future.
I think one thing that it comes down to what you're saying is like hardworking, yes, but also I feel like the word like that it's speaking to me is like willingly. Like, are you willing to do something new if you've been lazy in the past, but you still have these goals and dreams you want to see come true? Or even for a guy like you, are you willing to go through it, even someone who prides himself on working hard and was still challenged? So I think it's about like submission and being like, okay, I just need to find someone I trust, and if that's me, like do everything you're prescribed, and that's exactly what you did. So that's cool. On the flip side, I'm going to ask you, who's this program not for? Which catcher is not going to see the most benefit out of this?
So I think that the person who is not going to see the most benefit out of this is somebody who doesn't have an open mind. So I think that if you go into this program thinking that, you've had coaches in the past tell you that this way is correct, so you're not super open-minded to Brock and his ways of telling you what to do. So I think that yeah, it's not for somebody who's stubborn or unwilling to work, I guess. But yeah, no, I think that any catcher can do this if they have the right mindset.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I want to transition into is like how the program is set up. I talked about the three other training plans that most catchers have, and a lot of those are like in person, besides the last one, which is like you finding drills on the internet, trying to figure it out for yourself. So I get a lot of backlash of like, well, I don't know if I want to do a remote program. I don't know if it works. And it's part of the reason we do these testimonies. So you can show them, hey, I'm a real human, I am a real player, and I went through it and I saw great progress. So let's shift into what beliefs did you have about online training before working with me?
So honestly, online training for me, like if I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm seeing guys who are giving you tips or like lessons through Instagram Reels or whatever. And my opinion on online like training was that like, these people don't really know you and you're just another one of like their guys and they're throwing this information out there and hopefully you're getting it and hopefully you're putting in the hard work, but there's not like a really like connection between the player and the coach.
And that's a very valid point for someone who hasn't gone through it. Like it is something that is newer, and not everyone's a great online coach, to be honest. Just like there's bad in-person coaches. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. And then what would you say about after going through it? What would you have to say your thoughts on online training were, especially for you, someone who had worked with an in-person coach before?
So I think that like the online training aspect, I was skeptical going into it, but then like getting into it and like I was very connected with Brock. We were able like I could text him whenever. So I think that that was like super awesome because obviously we know that it's super difficult to see an in-person trainer or coach every single day in the off season or months leading up to like the season. You want to get work in every single day and you want to know if you're doing it correctly because like mindless or just casually going through these reps not necessarily is going to prepare you or better you for the season. So yeah, I think that like being able to having a coach who's always there or always available is super helpful.
I mean, for you, someone, I'll just ask this question from someone who's done both. If you had to compare remote versus in person, what would you say?
Well, I think that honestly remote is much cooler and gives you much more opportunity to put work in. For me, like on like the hitting aspect of the game, like I like to go see coaches, but honestly, like I'm in my cage at home every day and I'm much more comfortable in my cage and I feel like I can put in my best work at home. So having like an online remote program that gives me that opportunity to put my work in at my house, in my cage, with my machine and everything that I have here is super helpful. And I prefer that.
Well, sweet, man. I mean, what would you have to say to someone on the fence right now? Someone who's watching this and they've made it this far and they're like, "Well, I still just don't know." Like, what comes to your mind to tell them right now?
I would 100% go through with it. For me, I noticed Brock's Instagram way before I ever joined the program. I followed it. I was following some of the things that he was posting. I actually didn't realize till later on that like he coached players as well, and he has this super immense program. So I was kind of on the fence about it at first, like when I first got into like, hey, should I hit this guy up? And then had a few talks with my dad. Ended up shooting Brock a few DMs, and within like days, we were in the program, ready to go. Brock made it super easy to get all the details settled and everything, and I was able to just start grinding, start working hard in my backyard, which was awesome.
Yeah, man. Like it's that quick, and what players don't realize is like, or even guys reaching out to me that are on the fence is, dude, you reached out to me on Instagram. I talked with you and your parents. We had an honest conversation. I showed you what I do, and you saw the value in it. And then you said yes, and that was the first hard decision, which is like just getting over your mental hump of like, should I do this? You were able to commit to it. And then the next part was the months after that of you putting in the work and you got the result you wanted, dude. And we're gonna work on your recruiting as well, which I'm really excited for you to get some offers and options, which after all the footage you got this year, that's going to help out so much, man, in the stats you achieve. So just trying to show someone like, dude, this is how it goes. Like people reach out to me on Instagram, on Facebook, and I just show them what I do, and that's how they get better. I feel like I just kind of wanted to go into wrapping it up as far as, do you have anything else you want to say, man, while you have the floor? Like anything about the dynamic working with me or kind of your time in the program or just anything about the results? Like what comes to mind for anything, last few thoughts?
Yeah, I think that, well, to sum up what we were talking about, the program is super helpful. 100%. It keeps you busy, it keeps you consistent. You learn character traits. The opportunity to socialize with other players that you have never even met before is pretty awesome. And then you see results 100%. But another aspect of the game that I wanted to touch up on a bit was the spiritual side of the game. Going into my junior season, I've been a Christian for a long time. I have had my ups and downs, but I feel like I really wanted to implement Jesus and the faith into my game this year. And so I was talking to a few of my coaches, and one of my coaches specifically, he said, just go into this game today and consistently thank God that you're out here and ask Him to fulfill you through this game. I think that was at a point where I was maybe struggling a bit with my hitting, and I think I went out and I didn't expect anything, which I thought was huge for me. I just went out and I was constantly behind the dish, and it would just pop in my head like, hey, thank you, God, for letting me be out here today. Help fulfill me, not only in this game, but for the rest of the season. And I just kept reminding myself to say that throughout the whole game. Then it became consistent, and throughout the year, I just kept reminding myself that I'm here for a purpose. I want to lead my teammates into not only opportunities from the next level of the game, but beyond, like help grow these guys into men of faith and just give them the best environment to be around on this team and a great experience. I think that that is how God worked through me this year, creating a culture and an environment with like little to no politics at all on the team, no speed bumps or anything. So I was super grateful for that, for sure.
All glory to God, man. 100%. That's the most important part. And dude, being able to submit to his plans for your life and career is awesome. Dude, having such a solid kid like you come through shows me a lot. It makes me better as a coach because you want all the resources. Like you're putting in the work and it keeps me sharp. Like, okay, so, man, as much as I feel like hopefully I was able to help you just from the Lord put in me in your life, you were able to help me a lot, dude. Make this even better, and the outreach and the goal is still the same to reach catchers out there so they can become elite mentally and physically, but also find their savior in Christ and be able to unlock that freedom. To play with freedom is, man, it's worth everything. It's worth gold. And I was able to unlock it in my last year of playing in pro ball, and man, it's so fun where like something good happens, cool, on to the next, thank you God for the opportunity. Something bad happens, cool, on to the next, thank you for the opportunity. And that's how I truly believe we're meant to play this game, full of failure. So
Hmm.
I think you have a really cool, unique story as far as just someone who needs to go through the path and the plan they've been given, but like make sure you steward it right. Not just go through it and like, well, I have the starting spot, so I can just, slack off and kind of do that. But you had an opportunity, and this is really cool for you, and you can realize this going into summer and next year. And what you were able to do was seize that opportunity very well. So you're able to take full advantage, man, and that is worth so much. You're the team captain, you are the leader. That is your team, and you are a better, confident catcher back there physically, mentally. And that's awesome to see. And I'm more proud of you. And you know how you're able to talk about your faith and things like that. That's going to lead you further than any of this. So, man, that's really cool as a coach to see. For anyone watching this that wants to learn more, wants to see more proof, I guess, of joining in the program. The next steps that I usually go on for anyone who wants to take that look behind the curtain is we get on a call. This is what I did with Connor, and usually it's a Zoom call. In the description of this video below, I am going to put my booking link so you can go ahead and book an appointment with me, and we're going to get on a call, just go over where you are, where you want to go, what you're doing to get there, and where you're stuck and how I can help. And then from there, I'll show you kind of behind the scenes of what the program looks like. I'll also put a link to my website as well. That'll have my booking link in there as well. Watch the video on that. That video explains a lot of my stuff in my program so you can see directly how I work with guys, and follow me on all the social media platforms. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe this video on YouTube so I can continue to make more of this content to show you guys. Also, I post a lot of valuable trainings on there so you guys can see that as well and not miss one. But that is where you can find me. Connor, thank you for your time, dude. I know it's valuable, and thank you for doing this. I think this is going to help a lot of people. Hopefully, guys that are Christian athletes and guys that want to grow in faith as well, that maybe aren't there either, to see your story and use it as motivation so they can create their own. But Connor, thank you again, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.